Hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, today we are going over the movie Iron Man 2. So this is the third installment of the MCU, released in 2010. This has Jon Favreau back in the director's chair, and of course is once again starring Mr. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man. And this movie has a very interesting plot to it. This is a self-discovery movie for Tony, where it takes from a really interesting comic where he becomes a bit of an alcoholic, he goes a bit down in the dumps, and he has to pick himself up and pull himself back because there is another bad guy about. And yeah, Iron Man 2 is an interesting movie because it's one that a lot of people really dislike, and I can see why. There are huge issues with this movie. And the huge issues that I have with this movie are that it's a build-up movie. You can tell at this point, and Marvel were very dead set the direction they're going. We're going to do the Avengers movie. We want to get there. But that very small post-credit scene with Sam Jackson wasn't enough. We need to let people know a bit more about what's coming. So, of course, Sam Jackson's Nick Fury is actually in this one. Phil Coulson is back. We have the introduction of Black Widow, played wonderfully by Scarlett Johansson, and it's very much a build-up movie. There's a lot of stuff. There's a whole segment in this movie where it's more or less just a setup for the Avengers movie. And while it works fine, you know, there's nothing bad about it. It's all filmed well. It all makes sense. It just pulls you away from the main plot of the movie, which is a bit of a shame, because the main plot of this movie is still quite interesting, of course. You know, we've got Mickey Rourke playing Ivan, the villain in this movie. Was it Ivan Vanko? Ivan Vanko, who's, honestly, he's actually such an underrated MCU villain. I really like him. He's out for revenge. He feels like he's been done a bit dirty here by Tony Stark. And, you know, I want my bird. Where is my bird? I love it. It's great. He really cracks me up in this movie. Sam Rockwell was in this as Justin Hammer, and he's perfect. Cast perfectly, if I could speak. Sorry, it's been a long day. I absolutely love Sam Rockwell. He's one of my very favourite actors, and he's so good as Justin Hammer in this movie. So good. Marvel, please bring him back. Please. He's so good in this movie. But they did recast Rhodey in this. Of course, we have Don Cheadle in this, who I much prefer to the previous actor from the first Iron Man film in this role. And he gets the War Machine suit. It's not much of an origin story for him. Unfortunately, his character got done a bit dirty. It is very much he just steals the suit and keeps it. It's a very meh origin story. Black Widow's handled well, but again, she is mostly here just to help push that Avengers build-up that's happening in the background throughout this movie. And it's, you know, the same with Sam Jackson and Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson. They're all just sort of in the background here helping push forward this Avengers build-up. The film itself, though, as I said, the plot's fine. It's pretty standard. I like a lot of the side characters in this movie. They really keep this film alive. The effects in this movie are great. It looks visually stunning. The soundtrack as well, AC/DC, great, love it. And yeah, I love the design of the Iron Man suit and stuff. I like the kind of throwback stuff with all of Tony's dad's stuff, really good. Gwyneth Paltrow, she's a lot more interested in this movie as Pepper. She's given a lot more to do. I love the Monaco Formula 1 race, that was great. Yeah, I find that there's the badass scene at the end where Iron Man and War Machine take on the drones is awesome, but they sort of go down really quick and really easy. And it's sort of the same for Ivan Vanko's character. He does seem to go down a bit easy. But nevertheless, I think the film just kind of wraps up a little bit too quick for my liking. But other than that, I don't really see why people hate this movie. I definitely don't think this is a bad movie. It's very well constructed, considering Jon Favreau had a lot to deal with here. He was making a sequel to Iron Man, and then also had all this Avengers build-up stuff pushed on him. I genuinely think he done probably the best job he could. This is definitely not the worst Marvel film. It's the weakest of the Iron Man films, I think, but it still has a lot of charm to it, this movie. It is a good movie. As I say, unfortunately, because of all the Avengers build-up stuff, which, while it worked fine, a lot of other stuff fell under the bridge a bit. For example, War Machine's development, the plot, it pulls you out the plot and then decides to chuck you back in at the end. So it's very... Yeah, the last act is where it gets real messy for me. But the first 2 acts of this movie, I think are thoroughly enjoyable. It's a good Iron Man movie. It's a good superhero movie. The script is fun. The cinematography is really good at times. Really good, especially the Monaco race. Like the bit where Ivan walks out onto the tracks. Like some of the cinematography there is great. It's a good movie. I genuinely don't get why some people want to bash on it. Iron Man 2... I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10. I think this film it's above average. It's a good movie. It's not great. It's not going to blow you away. But, yeah, I think I just don't like people shitting on this movie because it doesn't deserve it. It's a good time. Anyway, there we go. That's my review of Iron Man 2. Next up in my MCU reviews, of course, we are moving on to Thor. Then we have Captain America, the First Avenger, followed by the Avengers. So we're going through phase 1 pretty quick in a minute. Anyway, guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and as always, I'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.